Our children in the line of fire.
Scene in Florida where another community is in disbelief, shocked by devastating violence, this time at that Florida high school on Valentine's Day.
17 people have been killed, students and adults. At least 15 injured, and the shooter, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, is in custody. This is the 18th school shooting already this year.
Scrambling for their lives while we dreamily polish our guns.
Politicians who sit in their gilded House and Senate seats funded by the NRA telling us nothing could have ever been done to prevent this. We call BS. They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call BS! They say that no laws could have been able to prevent the hundreds of senseless tragedies that have occurred. We call BS!
Reminders of the good old days when we lived in the Wild West, when war was a synonym of greatness, when guns didn't fire 800 rounds a minute.
Semi-automatic rifles were used by the shooters in Sandy Hook, Newtown, Aurora, the DC Sniper, and now Orlando.
We cherish the smell of red brass and gunpowder as our children practice hiding in closets.
The worst grade school shooting in U.S. history, at least 27 dead, 20 children, 7 adults, including the principal.
Learning to shiver and cry in silence instead of multiplication facts.
We take a look at something that's unfortunately become a normal part of life for so many students in this country.
All right, okay, smile. Hold on, girls, sorry. All right, boys and girls, we've blocked the door. Now you should have something in your hands to defend you. There's no reason to be alarmed. I'm going to be right here to help protect you. Now we just need to sit quietly and wait for further direction.
We pat our sweet babies' heads and send them off to the line of fire. So personally for me, I really like political poems. I think poetry is a great way to express political opinions. I think it's an important way to express them as well. And I feel like a lot of people typically use poetry to express political opinions. I personally really like this poem because I think especially with the pandemic, the worry about mass shootings, especially school shootings, has, gone down because no one's in school. But we can't forget that that is a huge problem and that our gun control laws in the United States are absolutely terrible and are 100% the reason these things happen. I also really like the lines, our children in the line of fire, scrambling for their lives while we dreamily polish our guns, and the lines, we cherish the smell of red brass and gunpowder as our children practice hiding in closets. I think those are great lines because it calls out these people who care more about guns than they do about other people's lives. They're just people in this gun culture and, identity that comes when you're just engulfed in that gun culture, that, guns are above everything else, they matter more than people's lives, and they refuse to acknowledge that that is basically what they're doing and what they're saying when they try to keep gun laws so lax and say, like, guns are a right, not a privilege, all that kind of stuff. They are saying, but refusing to acknowledge that they're saying, that guns are more important than these people's lives. I really like the line, when war was a synonym of greatness, because so many people create this fantasy in their head that war is some great thing. That, a lot of them are like, well, it's needed, when in reality it really isn't. War is not a good thing. You don't want to be at war. The United States is basically at a constant war because we need to keep people afraid of us. We need to protect our assets. We need to stage coups in other countries so that our interests are protected. And these people are just, like, the people who do those kinds of things are just idolized by people, and I think people forget that, war's not a good thing. Killing people is not a good thing. Having a terrifying, looming presence over other countries is not a good thing. You shouldn't want to do that. So yeah, I just personally really like this poem. I like a lot of political poems. It was between this and a police brutality poem, and I thought, with how much police brutality is being talked about and acknowledged, and I talk about it a lot in my other class, I figured maybe I would do a little bit of a different topic, as a reminder of a problem that is a huge problem in our country, especially with, as COVID restrictions have died down, there have been more mass shootings happening, and reoccurring. People were like, oh, mass shootings and school shootings were down like the past year. Like, yeah, no shit. No one was at school. People weren't going out. Like, of course there weren't mass shootings. So I think with that, resurgence of mass shootings, I think it's important to bring it up and remind people, like, this is another issue that we need to face, and we need to face now.